Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be sharing with us how to cut our basic bodice pattern. So for this tutorial, I'm making use of a paper, measuring tape, ruler and pen. First thing I'll do is from the top of my paper, I'm coming down by half an inch to get a straight line. That line is going to serve as my shoulder line. So from the top of my shoulder line, from that shoulder line that I just measured, I'll be taking my vertical measurement. First, I'm taking my bust, which is 10, my under bust, which is 13, my half length, which is 16, and my hip line, which is 24. Then I'm going to rule out those measurements with my ruler, just like I'm doing right now. So after ruling out these measurements with my ruler, the next thing I'll be doing is to measure my neck depth and neck width. So for my neck depth and neck width, I want to make use of 3 inches by 3 inches. So I'll measure 3 inches for my neck width and 3 inches for my neck depth. Then I'll connect the 2 points together to get a curve for my neck, just like you see me do. Having done this, I'm measuring my chest line. So for my chest line, I'm going to go 2 inches from my bust line, which is 10, and so my chest line will be 8, just like I just measured, and I'll also rule out with my ruler, just like I'm doing. Having done this, I'm going to be labeling all these lines so that we won't be confused. So I'm extending those lines, the lines with my ruler, then I'm going to label it as my chest line, my bust line, my under bust line, my waist line, and my hip line. The next thing I'll do is to measure my shoulder. So my shoulder is 7 inches. So I just measured it. Then I'm going to take my shoulder slope. So I'm going to come down 1 inch from that point where I measured my shoulder, and I'll connect it to the width of my neck with my ruler to get my shoulder slope. So the next thing I'll do is to join from the point where I have my shoulder slope to my chest line. To do this, I'll measure my shoulder measurement on my chest line. So I measure 7 and I'm connecting it to my shoulder slope, just like you see me do. After this, I'll be taking my nipple to nipple measurement. So on my waistline, I'm taking 3.5. On my under bust line, I'm taking 3.5. On my bust line, I'm taking 3.5. And I'm also going to take my nipple to nipple measurement on my hip line. So I'm taking another 3.5 on my hip line. Then I'm going to connect all these lines with my ruler, just like I'm doing right now. So having ruled this out, I'm going to be taking my dart. So I'm taking my dart on my waist line. So I'm taking half inch dart on both sides. So I'm taking half inch on the left and half inch on the right also. After that, I'll go to my bust line, come down 1 inch from the point where I have my bust line. Then I'm going to connect that 1 inch to the dart that I took at my waistline. So that is what I'm doing with my ruler to get a shape that looks like a triangle. That shape is going to serve as my dart. I'm also going to connect it from my waistline to my hip line. I'm connecting that dart to my hip line as well, just like you see me do right now. So having connected the dart, I'm going to be taking my body measurement. So I'm going to be dividing the circumference of all my body measurement by 4. So my bust is 36 divided by 4 is 9, and I'll be adding 1.5 inch sewing allowance. For my waist is 28 divided by 4 is 7. Then I'll add the 1 inch that I took for the dart. You know I took half inch, so that is 1. I'm adding it back before adding my 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Then my hips is 38 divided by 4 is 9.5 pardon. Then I'm taking 1.5 inch sewing allowance. The next thing I'll do is connect all these points with my ruler, just like you see me do right now. So from my waist to my hip is not supposed to be a straight line. So I'm going to use my free hand to curve it out so that the line would not be too straight when cutting it. After doing this, I'll be taking my armhole measurement. So for my armhole, I'm going to get the middle point of the length of my armhole. For me, mine is 3.5 because the length of my armhole is 7. From there, I'll go in by half an inch. Then I'll use my hand to make a curve. So to connect my armhole curve to my chest line, I'm going to measure my bust measurement on my chest line. So I measured 9 on my chest line since my bust is 36, and I'm using my hand to just get a curve right there. The next thing I'll do is to add the 1.5 inch sewing allowance at my chest line so that I can connect my chest line to my other body measurement with my ruler, just like I did now. So I'm going to label this as my front pattern. After labeling this, for my back, what I'll just do is to cut out a paper measuring 2 inches wide. So I'll cut out that paper now. Then I'll gum the paper using my gum. I will attach it to my front pattern. That paper is serving as my zipper allowance. I already attached it here, just like you've seen me do. I already attached it. I extended my shoulder line to that 2 inches. That 2 inches that I attached is my zipper line. So the difference between the front and the back is just the zip allowance that is introduced at the back. So what I'll do again is to extend the depth of my shoulder to my back, to that zip allowance that I added to my back. I'm going to extend my neck depth. My neck depth. I already extended the shoulder and I'm extending my neck depth, which is 3. Since I used 3 by 3, I'm also using 3 by 3 at my back. So having extended the lines, that is all for our basic bodice pattern. I hope you understand what I just did. You can replay the video to understand it better. Thank you for watching my channel. Please kindly subscribe to this channel, like and share my videos. In my next tutorial, I'll be using this pattern to cut out a shirt pattern. Please watch out for my next